This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Once again, we're at Swiss Flower and Gift Cottage. Since 1969, they have been providing retail therapy at its finest. I'm with Heidi, who is the owner and designer. Heidi, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
A lot has changed just in the short period of time that we've been back here. Let's start off, first of all, share with us this location, the history behind it, and how your family got involved here.
My parents started the flower shop about 45 years ago. We moved here, and there was basically a greenhouse and a flower shop, and the kids were raised in the business. It was a great childhood memories here.
So you learned business firsthand, dad involved, bookkeeping, the whole 9 yards. You understood what business was all about.
I did. You worked long hours, and you learned to be very creative and help out your parents. It was good.
Before we jump into the flower shop as well as the gift boutique you've got here, let's go into a few things that we didn't touch on before. Magical fairy gardening. Let's start there. Tell me what you have involved.
Well, we expanded quite a bit into the fairy gardens, the miniature gardens that people really enjoy building. You can do various themes from the true fairies being in your garden to having a miniature garden with maybe dragons or pigs or birds or whatever you'd like to have in these miniature gardens. In fact, last week we did a whole team building where an office came and we had them all pick a container and pick out the things that interested them, and it was amazing to see how different everyone's garden turned out, and it was a great casual atmosphere to get to know your coworker and really have this great team building experience. It was fun.
Great way to bond and show some creativity. So basically, not only can they visit the cottage here, they can actually create their own stone cottage in their own garden along with little fairies, the whole bit themselves.
Yeah, we've added an entire room actually that has all the miniatures, the fairy garden accents, and you can let your creativity just go wild.
Well, let me ask you this, somebody who has never thought about putting a garden like that together before, you're saying you actually have some type of classes where they can actually learn to do that as well.
We used to have actually set schedules, but I found that it was a little more personal to work with other people's schedules, have a smaller, more intimate class of 2 or 3 friends get together and have just more of a fun private party. We also do, like I said, the larger parties, and that was a great experience.
Somebody out there, they've got a place to put a garden together. Maybe they've got a large yard and they can have some large animals as well. Yes. I noticed you guys have something ongoing out there. We're not talking about small, we're talking about very large.
Yes, we've expanded our outside patio area as well, brought in a lot of the metal art. We've got a 10-foot giraffe and the mama and the baby giraffe as well. There's a 10-foot chicken. We have whimsical cows, and there's foxes and birdhouses with flowers and everything you can imagine to accent your garden. It's great.
You're going to have to keep changing the name as we go along. You've got a zoo going on before you know it.
Zoo. Yes, I have a zoo.
Obviously, you're known for troll beads, which is basically a great designer jewelry that folks have enjoyed here. But you've also added since then the red bally frog. Share with me that line.
Red Belly Frog is a very small line out of Australia. It complements the troll beads. Wonderful. Troll beads is actually our main jewelry line that we carry. We're actually the largest dealer in Colorado. Amazing selection. I sometimes joke with the customers that are overwhelmed when they see the selection that they've arrived at the candy store. It truly is a great representation of the line, the complete line, and you can let your, again, imagination go wild and create these custom pieces that are, for yourself or to give as a gift.
Is this a good complement with the troll beads as well?
It is. I've tried to bring in actually several different jewelry lines that will complement each other and maybe work with each other to give people different price points to add to collections and gift giving.
As a platinum level retailer for the troll beads, are you constantly updating those as well and making sure people are seeing new things when they come in?
I always have all of the current releases and make sure that there's always a large selection, not just one or two pieces, but always, plenty of a selection to give the people the individual choices of, since everything is handcrafted, there's always that little bit of difference between each bead, and you want to be able to have that option to pick which one really says, take me home.
So the whole cottage always screams of customization. I mean, you've got a wide line of great finds for everyone. Yeah. Quite honestly, it began here as a flower shop, a greenhouse. Mm-hmm. You've now expanded over 5,000 square feet under the roof here. But nonetheless, we're still a flower shop, full service. Tell me what you're able to provide there.
We are a flower shop. In fact, it's so funny when people come in and they don't see your typical cooler that has pre-made bouquets in it that, most shops have. We do everything custom. So you tell us the price range you want to stay within, and we create it. I hand select all the flowers, and that way it really ensures that the product is fresh and a diversity of things that are in season at that time.
Around the metro area, you're known for your signature Swiss bouquet. Mm-hmm. Share with me what entails there.
Swiss bouquet is basically, it's a vase arrangement. It has an assortment of any flower that is in season at the time. We try and give you the largest selection of just nice texture and quality flowers. So it's not your, carnation and mum and lily bouquet. It has the textures of the various fillers and higher quality flowers to give you the variety that you're not used to seeing.
A real European flair, basically. Do folks notice that?
I think they do. I think they definitely can tell the difference between our bouquets and someone else's bouquet. I mean, I get that comment a lot from customers that say, I knew exactly which bouquet came from your shop, which is really a great compliment.
Not only do the bouquets look good, but they can also taste good as well. You sometimes can incorporate some gourmet food goodies you have here. Share with me a little.
We do gourmet food baskets where we'll try and work real food into food-type baskets. We have gourmet cupcakes that we carry from the dessert stand, fabulous little gourmet cupcakes that come in 4-packs. We work those into the food baskets, as well as local pickles and barbecue sauce, cookies, crackers, real food as opposed to pretty little packages with just a few pieces in it. So we try and give a customer something that they're going to be proud of to send.
Obviously, the cottage is the home of many, many things under one roof, but it's also home of something you call high tea. Share with me a little bit about what that entails.
We introduced high teas about 8 years ago when we expanded over into this part of the building, and we did it more as a way to get people into the store that maybe wouldn't think to come to a flower shop. So we started doing high teas. The food is catered in, and it's more of a personal party for party sizes from 4 to about 20. It's a great way to have a little intimate birthday party, or you could do a bridal shower, baby shower. We've done those as well, and it's just more of a personal party.
Obviously, by reservation, I would imagine, but can you touch on just a few of the items maybe we're going to see on a menu for something like that?
Well, you start out with some fresh fruit, and then you move on to your homemade scones, petite sandwiches, and then you finish up with dessert. It's quite lovely. There is a menu on the website and photos of what the high tea does look like.
Sounds very yummy. I notice around, I see a lot of silk flower arrangements. So not only are the natural flowers, but do you also provide silk?
We do. We can either make a custom piece for you if you have a fabric swatch, or if you want to bring in a photo of where the piece is going to go. I can put something together, whether it's for your dining room table or for your wall. But we do custom pieces, and with the silks, the way they've changed over the years, the artificial flowers are quite amazing.
Well, you're basically hitting us with all the senses. I mean, quite honestly, the reviews online, when folks walk through the doors, this is a place that takes them away, not only in aroma, but also in great finds. Was that the goal, and is that what keeps it really kind of fun for you?
I think what keeps it really fun for me is having the thrill of finding things that excite me, in turn having the reaction of the customers that are equally as excited to find something. It's the thrill of the hunt. I think we all enjoy trying to find that special something to give as a gift or to buy for yourself. And the shop has really allowed me to hit on all topics of, from furniture pieces to art to small pieces that you can give as gifts. I mean, having the square footage that I have has really allowed me to hit on almost all topics.
No limits, basically. Wonderful. One of the things I see here is the fact that you've got, obviously, you keep saying that you can buy for yourself or buy for someone else. That is the truth. You don't have to be shopping for anyone. What about corporate gifts? If a company wanted to provide some unique corporate gifts, do you provide that as well?
We do. They can, again, just let us know what price range they want to stay within, and if there's a theme, and we can work our magic as far as trying to put something together that will represent what they wanted to do.
Wonderful. I notice a lot of decor around as well, housewares, gadgets. When folks walk in there, are they sometimes overwhelmed by how much is here?
I think the comment that we get a lot is how far it keeps going, that it just keeps going on, and how many rooms there are and the different themes that you can see here. I mean, we have just a little bit of everything.
Viewers, if you take a look at the bottom of the screen right there, what you're going to see is their website. On the website, first of all, you're going to click the tabs there and be able to walk through the different items they have, be it decor, floral. They really have something for everybody. The place is very hard to describe unless you're able to walk through it. Hopefully, we're doing a good job with the camera out there, enticing you to come down to quite honestly, a family landmark that has been here for many, many years. Does it surprise you sometimes that obviously your customers throughout the years, I imagine they become your friends, but does it also surprise you that people probably walk in every day and they've never even walked in here before?
It's a very common comment that they've driven by for years and they've never been in, and they can't believe that they've missed this, and how many people they'll go and tell. And it goes back to the old word of mouth of, tell somebody what you've experienced, because there really isn't anything like this. It's hard to find a family-owned small shop, which isn't really very small, that offers all of the things that we offer.
Wonderful. I mean, so obviously you love the compliments you get from folks that walk in. You've been recognized. We're talking Best Business of 2013, the best of the best, top 5 gift shops on the Denver A-list. Is it kind of nice to know that your family's traditions have lived on? It
is. It's amazing how you would never have thought that, 5 years later, I was only 3 when we moved out here, sleeping, on the floor while your parents worked late, and I never dreamed that this is what I would be doing, but I can't imagine doing anything else. I mean, I get to do what I love every day. It is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but you learned that early on. You knew what you're getting into because you grew up in a family environment, and I think your family would be proud of the fact that they would be surprised how many people are coming in and out of here every day, and you now, basically your home, their home.
I would agree. That is true.
Wonderful. Last time viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see their website once again. That is Swiss Flower and Gift Cottage. Quite honestly, so much under one roof. We're talking about gifts, home decor, gardening, art, jewelry, framed art. You name it, when you come on down, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to understand and see why folks here in Denver and many that have traveled miles away have found this to be a real treasure, and hopefully will continue on for many more years. That is basically the Swiss Floral and Gift Cottage, retail therapy at its finest. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.
Fisher Van Lines is a family-owned and operated Denver mover with the experience and resources to manage your residential or commercial relocation. From planning and packing, transport and unpacking, we offer an array of professional moving and storage solutions to meet your needs. When you choose Fisher Van Lines as your Denver movers, you get a trained professional staff to ensure your move is well executed, on time, and on budget.
Canine Rehabilitation and Conditioning Group leads the industry of animal rehabilitation, and our caring team will help your dog or cat to feel stronger, move better, and get back into the game of life. Our rehabilitation experts are leading the industry of restoring quality of life to geriatric, injured, overweight, post-operative, and neurological or otherwise compromised dogs through physical therapy and integrative veterinary approaches.
Medical Massage International provides the public with independent, competent healthcare practitioners through the art of massage. We train therapists to last and sustain a career beyond our school by entering them into the medical world of massage. Establishing core values within our students to bring out the best in themselves is our goal. You too can join this diverse group of therapists to thrive in the medical massage world.
This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're on location in Denver, Colorado. We are here with the Wired Group. Since 2011, they have been playing a role in the evolution of the utility industry. I'm here with the president, Paul Alvarez. Paul, I appreciate you joining us here today. Why don't we begin, first of all, your personal involvement with the Wired Group, and also over a decade that you've been involved in this industry, learning and teaching.
Well, I'm the president of the Wired Group, and several of us saw a need to improve the value that utilities were delivering to their customers. Particularly, our focus is on the distribution side. So the wires that bring the power, to customers and the businesses, those utilities that manage that process. So that's our role.
The model of the utility industry, has it changed quite a bit just in the past couple decades, compared to when our families grew up?
Yeah, it really has. I think probably the biggest change happened in the last half of the last century, where generation was deregulated, which means that utilities buy their power from a variety of companies. It's not just the utility that owns power plants. There's a lot of power plant owners out there. And so what that's done to some extent is focus utilities more on their distribution businesses. So that part that brings the wires, brings the electricity to homes and businesses. And so there's competition now in the generation industry, in the generation space. It's very, very competitive. And the profits aren't as great there. And so utilities are looking for other areas to earn profits, like the distribution space.
What would you say is the definition of a distribution utility business? What is that for folks?
Well, it starts right here at the substation that we're at. Typically, the substations pull the power off of the high voltage transmission lines, and then they distribute that power to the homes and businesses. And so that's the distribution industry. There are also a lot of ancillary services related to that: customer service, billing, energy efficiency programs, those kinds of things that utility businesses, and also kind of help define what the distribution business is today.
Obviously, technology is rapidly changing, and which is great, but do some of these technological advances that have happened over the years, do they create kind of a challenge for companies to keep up with all that information?
I think it does, but I think there's also opportunities, and they see those opportunities. I think what's happened so far is that there's so much new information and data from these so-called smart grid systems that utilities haven't really figured out how to take advantage of it, how to take all these new capabilities that we have and maximize value for customers, and that's where kind of the Wired Group steps in. The key point for consumers is that they're being asked to pay for these smart grid investments, right? Utilities are investing billions of dollars in the United States these days on these smart grids and these distribution transmission investments, and customers are being asked to pay for that. And so what we need to do is make sure that those investments are in the right direction and they're being optimized for customer value.
Speaking of customers, obviously as technology evolves, we as the consumers, we're evolving along with that.
Yes.
Are our expectations changing?
I think so, and the future is going to be very interesting. People don't really recognize the complexity, the labor, the capital that goes into the distribution system. It's probably more fragile than most people realize, and as they get into new things like PV solar panels, like electric vehicles, those present technical challenges to those who operate the distribution grids. And so we need to be thinking today, communities in general have to be thinking today about the investments they're going to make, the capabilities they're going to want in the future, to what degree, what capabilities, what flexibility, how much is that going to cost, who's going to pay, those communities have to be thinking about those questions now, so they can be prepared for those technologies in the future.
You're talking about decision making here. How important is it for you to provide objective information for those clients to help them make those successful decisions?
It's very important. I think our client base consists of communities, state and local governments, utility regulators, utilities, even industry suppliers. And I think the objective information we provide and guidance is critical, for them to make informed decisions.
That's a wide array of clients that you deal with. We're talking about, like you said, the utilities themselves, advocates, suppliers, the whole 9 yards. That your team has to be pretty well experienced in all those areas.
Yes, our experience comes from the utility space. We've worked in the utility industry for probably the last 10 years or so, largely on the energy efficiency side of things, helping utilities develop those programs. But a couple of years ago, we began doing evaluations of these smart grid deployments. And so we did an evaluation, comprehensive independent evaluation of Xcel Energy's Boulder smart grid deployment here in Colorado, as well as Duke Energy's Ohio deployment in the greater Cincinnati area for the Ohio PUC. And in those, as far as we know, are the only two comprehensive independent evaluations that have been conducted, and so it's given us a lot of insight and objectivity, as you mentioned, that we bring to our clients.
Insight is important. You have maintained your reputation for basically providing unbiased perspective. Is that always the end goal of your team?
Yeah, I think it is the end goal. I think everybody does well with unbiased information, and they can use that to make their own decisions, not tainted by any particular perspective, motivation, incentive. And as you can imagine, utilities act based on those incentives, and so we need to provide a variety of perspectives to help these communities make the decisions that'll be right for their communities as far as what they should do for their distribution grid.
You spoke of earlier about smart grids. We hear a lot about those in the public. What deployments have you been personally involved with in the past 10 years?
So I mentioned the one in Boulder, as well as the one in Cincinnati. Those are the deployments that we've been most closely associated with. We also have done some work for associations, Edison Electric Institute, the Smart Grid Consumer Collaborative, where we've done a lot of secondary research on multiple smart grid deployments. So what's available from the utility, what's available in the regulatory dockets where these things are discussed and evaluated, by consumer groups and various parties with an interest in where the distribution grid is going in their communities.
You've really taken part in some high-profile deployments out there. Quite honestly, you're able to take folks from the initial vision to the business planning, all the way obviously to the successful execution and beyond.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of the front end and the back end is where we specialize. On the front end, where do you want to go with your grid? How should we design it to be optimum? And then on the back end, let's evaluate how well you've done and how we can optimize.
So it's very important to have those performance evaluations as well as reporting at their fingertips, so they basically have a good idea of what's going on.
That's exactly right, Gary.
I love it. Great. Folks, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to basically see is their contact information. On their website, you're going to get a clearer idea of what the vision is of this company in 2011. Into the future, they're playing a big role in the changing utility industry. You're also going to see some of the references, links. They've got a lot of places that you can click on there and get an idea of how complex this is. Like you explained earlier, most folks don't even stop and think about that. When I think of utility industries, I almost think back to playing Monopoly as a kid. And I'm looking at that sought-after piece on the board that, quite honestly, there's a latent value that everybody knows is there. Is that the same thing today?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of latent value that's not being captured, and so that's where we focus our efforts. And I think there's folks who have taken advantage of it. I hope there'll be more in the future.
Looking into the future, that is the Wired Group. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know. Until next time, if you know of a business who you feel the whole city should know about, nominate them, we'll send a reporter out. This is Gary Atencio from CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.
This summer, scream down the Mile High Flyer, Colorado's only water coaster. Come fly on the Mile High Flyer, only at Waterworld.
Save up to $50 on family 4-packs at King Soopers.
Attention! At Major Mom, we are passionate and skilled at decluttering and setting up customized, sustainable systems in a wide variety of households. Major Mom served in the U.S. Air Force with 2 decades of training in order management. Orderly does not mean rigid or inflexible. It means you have room in your brain to think about important things. Major Mom wants you to experience the joy of living and working in an organized and beautifully arranged environment. Providing great service to busy families, we make getting organized fun.